There we go. Back at it again. Alright, welcome everyone. Welcome back to Tier 2 of Brock Boys. Time for round 13 of the season. And the Bahrain Grand Prix at the Bahrain International Circus in Sakir. Starting off with qualifying as per usual. And we see cars going out on track. The Duck on Quack being the first one. His teammate, Sand Cannon, the winner of the previous race at Kota last week. The historic moment. Let's see what she can do today. It's gonna be an interesting one for sure. Bahrain always up for some action. Tire wear also playing a role here with the hards and mediums. No safety cars yesterday in the Tier 1 race. We'll see if Tier 2 will be able to repeat that. Or if you're gonna see some neutralizations during the race. That is going to be for later. The Quack is about to start his first flying lap of the session. He's going to be the first one to sell lap time if he manages to stay within the white lines, which shouldn't be too difficult around Bahrain. Hard braking zone is the turn 1, it's a hairpin, and it's going to be a difficult traction zone on the exit. Turning and accelerating at the same time is always a bit of a tricky situation. See, nearest the end of Sector 1. Start off with a 29.1 in the first sector. Now we're getting towards that turn 10, a very difficult corner in Bahrain. Braking and steering at the same time. If we have ABS off, it's easy to lock the front or the rears. And somewhat of a back straight here with the DRS zone, third DRS zone. That's the end of Sector 2. All looking pretty comfortable, pretty nice for a solid banker lap at the moment. And that's what you want at the start of a qualifying session. Oh. We're gonna see him cross the line for the first time on the board. And it's gonna be a 129, no, it's 130.2 for the McLaren driver. And then behind, it's Raiden to the top with a 28.7, already in the 28s. High 28. very solid banker lap for the Williams driver. And his teammate Sly goes to P2, but gets replaced by Skulker immediately, who goes to P2. 7 Dead to P3 with a 129.3. And then behind it's Bob to P6, a few tenths behind. Up next is Brian the Rebel, but he's driving on the intermediates. Not raining yet at Bahrain. 34's not really a representative lap. And that's Brennan to P4 in the Aston Martin. Just about in the 30s. As Sakir, the only reserve driver in this race, goes to P4 with a 29.3. Sakir at the circuit in Sakir. You love to see it. And Andy with a 2-minute lap time. Sean is on a lap as well. It looks to be purple in sector 1. Let's see if he can maintain that throughout the rest of the lap. Down at the turn 10. Nice and close to the apex. A good exit to open the DRS. And can he go fastest in the middle sector as well? It looks to be another purple sector for the Red Bull driver. Red Bull a bit disappointed after yesterday's race. No points scored in Tier 1. Looking to get some points on the board in this race. In Tier 2. What certainly would help if Sean would go to the top, but he's not, because he's going back into the pit lane, aborting his lap for some reason. Zimniak in the Mercedes on a lap as well. Currently in P15 without a lap time set. But that is gonna change at the end of this lap. It's Andy for the win. Finally sets a representative lap with P6 with a high 29. Tyrrell Germ starting his lap as well. Same for his teammate. And it says purple at the first sector. That will be interesting. Race winner of Kota starting his lap as well. Her lap as well. As Zimniak goes to P3 with a 29.2, slotting behind his teammate Alpha Hype Wall. But they're both still 4 tenths behind Raiden in the Williams. But there's still drivers to set their lap times. So what can Tent gonna do? 29.0 in the first sector. 7 Dead moves to P2 into the 28s as well. Only 2 drivers so far in the 28s. Yesterday's pole time was a 27.9. So it'll be interesting to see how far they will be off in Tier 2. Now through the middle sector. 7.6, so what's it gonna be? Is it gonna be a 29 or a 28? No purple sector so far. It's only the banker lap. Coming out of the final corner. And across the line for 29.7, which puts her in P7 for the moment. Someone we haven't seen yet is DPT Paul. He didn't race last week in Kota, but he's back again this week, our championship leader. Looking to get that another top spot on the podium tonight. He's always been strong so far this season. See what he can do tonight, as he's about to start his first lap. Hard braking into turn 1. So we ride on board with the AlphaTauri driver. Gently on the throttle, and then opening the DRS. 3 DRS zones around Bahrain. It's very crucial to stay within that DRS during the race. If you fall out of it, you could easily lose half a second per lap. You don't have any tire advantage. Keeping it nice and close to the inside. Leaving a lot of room on the exit there of turn 8. Out turns 9 and 10. Very nicely done. Now through the middle sector. 7-0, and it's purple sector 2 for Paul. And will he go to the top? And with how much time will he go to the top? Surely we'll get into the 28s. Can he beat the 28.7 of Raiden? As he comes around the final corner and across the line, deep to Paul goes to P2. Ooh, missing out a bit in the final sector. P3 actually, 28.9. 1.5 tenths behind the Williams driver, who was on pole position in the last race as well at Kota. And eventually converted it into podium position. And Wardy is on the lap as well. Championship rival of Paul, somewhat. A bit far behind in the standings. 31 points is the gap, so it's not over yet for sure. What can he do in the middle sector? On 7.2, it says purple sector again. Now can he go to the front row maybe, where his teammate at the moment, Skulker, is doing an amazing job. P2 at the moment with a 28.8. As Warney comes across the line for a 29.0, puts him in P6 at the moment. Stan Cannon has gone for another lap, 1.5 tenths improvement in the middle sector. There a bit more time to find in the final sector as well. At the moment in P11. Across the line, and it is still P11, P12 it is now, as Sean has moved to P11 for his first lap time with a 29.2, 10 thousandths behind his teammate. Two Red Bulls very close together, and it's quite a big gap then to 10th Cannon and P12. As Simniak goes to P2 with a 28.8, very close at the top as Material Germ. The only one to not set a lap time goes across the line for P14. Oh, big slide there for Bob into turn 1. Pushing a bit too much on the braking. I wonder how much time he lost with that. Went down on his time, so he definitely lost a bit of time with that moment. Many drivers in the pit lane, preparing themselves for the final runs. That is on a lap though, improving by almost a tenth in the first sector. If he can maintain that throughout the lap, he might be on for a front row, maybe even pole position. He finds some more time through this lap. Very close to the apex at the turn 10. At the moment in P5, but only a tenth behind, a tenth and a half behind Simniak in P2. And Raiden is not far up the road either. Through the middle sector, whoa, almost 2 tenths up. This can be very close to Raiden. Oh, he is almost 2 tenths down on Raiden at the moment, so can he pull it through the final sector? At the moment he's in P5, but can he convert it into front row or maybe even provisional pole position across the line? No! And he did the exact same time as Raiden. Wow, 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 wow. 128.775. It's not good enough for pole position by the nearest thousandth of a second. That's incredible. It's almost like we're back in 1997, real life Formula 1, when 3 drives at the exact same lap time in Jerez. 28.775. If only he gained 1,000th of a second, he would have been on provisional pole. But with 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, I don't think he's going to be able to do another lap. And it's not going to be a pole position for 7 Dead in the Ferrari. Now Alpha Hype Wall on the lap as well in the Mercedes. Currently in 8th. Looking for an improvement. And he's finding a bit of time in the first sector, half a tenth up. His teammate at the moment is in P3, so surely there's some time to find for the Mercedes driver. .29.1 at the moment, but it's very, very close at the top. Only 4 tenths behind pole position, and the top 12 is covered within a second as he improves by 3 tenths in the middle sector. If he can gain a bit more time, he could be on a potential front row. Or P3 or P4, can he get out of his teammate? 10 Cannon is retired from the session, so she won't be able to get any higher than 12. Alpha 5 Wall across the line for P5 with a 28.8, and look how close it is. 1/10 behind pole position, and he's in P5. 10,000th of a second behind Skoker. 11,000 I should say. And who else is on a lap? SA24 is going into the pit lane. He's not improving. It's P19 for him, unfortunately. And DPT Paul starting his lap as well. So loads of drivers starting their laps. Prima as well. First of them is Andy for the win, currently in P13, not really improving at the moment. 7 Dead retired as well, so he won't be getting any higher than second. But still front row at the moment. Andy across the line improves 1 position to P12. And behind is Sly Williams, but he's putting into the pit lane. He's not improving his lap time either. Duck on Quack is 11,000 down on in time in the middle sector. But can he find some in the final sector? It's P18 for him. Disappointing result for McLaren in qualifying. Next material germ, not improving either. Gonna be looking at the tall likes of Paul at the moment at P6. A little bit of an improvement in sector 1. Through the middle sector, only 4,000 lost then, so 28,000 up on his time. It's not going to be enough at the moment for a pole position. Now Sean, 1.5 tenths up on his time, currently in P11, would like to get a bit further up the grid. Cross line, it's P8 for the Red Bull driver. And Skolker to P1, but now it's Paul who takes that P1 position away from him, 28.722, and it's so incredibly close at the top. Paul at the moment is on pole position, but Raiden is out. He's not going to be improving, and Wardy to the top with a 28.4. Where the hell did that come from? 3/10 ahead of everyone else. That's an insane lap there for the driver second in the championship. And I don't think anyone else is improving. I think that's it. And it's gonna be Wardy on pole position by 2.5 tenths ahead of Paul. And Skolkul in P3. Incredible job as well, ahead of Raiden in P4. 7 Dad in the end in P5, ahead of the two Mercedes of Zimyak, Alfa Paul, Sakir in P8 in the Alpine. Ahead of Sean and Madman, who round out the top 10. But it's a front row lockout for the drivers first and second in the championship. Like we've seen many times before. And it's happened again, but it's so incredibly close at the top. Well, apart from Wardy. Takes the pole position, 28.476. That's 28.7 for a DPT Paul, so quite a bit of time to be found. An incredible job from Skolker with an Alfa Romeo first and third on the grid. Looking for some good points tonight. Raiden will have to do for P4 with the exact same time as 7 Dead. P4 and P5 for them, ahead of the two Mercedes. Shakir, Sean, Madman, Pry in the Red Bull 11th. Ahead of Andy, 10 Cannon in P13, the winner of the previous race. Ahead of Bob, Sly, Material Germ, Brennan, Duck and Quack, SC24 and Carnator, who didn't set a lap time, down in 20th. Qualifying's over, now we're getting ready for the main event. The race itself. Will it be Paul or Wardy again? Or will it be someone else? "29 laps ahead of us to decide it." And in a few moments time, we'll be ready for lights out. It's going to be an interesting run towards turn 1. A very sharp corner. Could see some moves getting made there at the start. In a minute time, we'll be getting this race underway. Round 13 of the season. After this, only 5 races remaining. Championship is coming to an end. Still lots of points to be gained and lost. And Paul is only 31 points ahead, so if he retires tonight and Boydie wins, it could be down to 6 or 5 points. But I don't see Paul retiring. But anything can happen. And we're about to find out. Let's keep it nice and clean. And there we go. The red lights are on. And it's lights out in Bahrain, and it's a pretty good start for Wardies on the hards. The front rows on the hards. But Paul's looking on the inside. They're going wheel to wheel into turn 1. Wardy remains in the lead. And he's got Skulker on his inside into turn 2. But hangs on round the outside. And now he's going for it. And going for it. And Paul is going for the lead immediately into turn 1, turn 2. Side by side, the two championship protagonists going wheel to wheel already on the first lap. Paul on the inside, and Paul takes the lead there. Going into sector 2. Two Alfa Romeos follow him close behind. 7 Dead is the P4, has gained the positions. Raiden has lost a few positions, down to P6. And now he's got Sean on his inside, who's on the soft compound tire. So looking to be aggressive in the opening stint. Sakir has made up a place, he's up to P5 on the mediums. Top 4 all on the hards. But everyone has made it through unscathed, which is pretty impressive. No yellow flags, no spins, all clean so far. Mercedes battling it out outside the top 10. Only one driver on the softs, and the rest of them all on the mediums or the hards. And Paul is already putting a bit of a gap ahead of Wardy, 7.5 tenths. Already after just one lap. It's going to be crucial for Wardy to stay close, to stay within the DRS. Because if you fall out of it, then you're going to lose a lot of time. As there comes Sean on the softs, up at the P6 already, the Red Bull driver. And ahead, Sakir going for the move as well on 7 Dead at turn 1 on the inside. And he takes the position. Or does he? 7 Dead hangs it round the outside. And to prevent him, he holds on to that P4. Nice move on the Ferrari driver, but Sakir looking to come back. But instead, now he's got Sean going around the outside, and they're going wheel to wheel, bit of a contact there, but Sean takes the position, and he's up at the P5. Gaining positions left, right and center. We've got a yellow flag, and it looks to be the two Aston Martin drivers have made contact. Bob is into the gravel, Brandon has spun around, and that's the last thing Aston Martin needed. Both of the drivers spinning out. You can see Sean already has moved up 4 places in 1.5 laps time. He's on the move on these softs. Looking to get as far up the order for his pit stop. Johnny will go for a 2-stop strategy. You don't want to be finishing on the hards. His tire will be pretty bad. Meanwhile, Paul has already got a 1 second lead to Skulker, that was moved up to P2, overtaken Ward. He was dropping down the order a bit there. Paul sitter lacking a bit of pace in the opening stage of this race. Meanwhile, someone who's not lacking pace is Sean, because he's moving up to P4. Going wheel to wheel with 7 at the turn 1, 7 trying to hang it round the outside. Like he did with Sakir, but the traction of the softs are so much better that Sean gets ahead, coming out of turn 3, and he's up at the P4. Now Sakir is looking on the inside as well, not quite able to go for it. Yellow flags behind. I think Andy has had a moment in the AlphaTauri, dropping down the order down to P18. Meanwhile, Skulker is doing a very good job, because he stayed within that 1 second margin, and now he can stay within the DRS and cruise behind Paul. hopefully have a bit of a fight with him in the end of the race. Still 26 laps to go. Long race ahead. It's Wardy who's really struggling on these hards. 1 second behind his teammate. Trying desperately to stay within the DRS window. But his teammates having much more pace this race. And you might actually see an overtake for the lead here. Skolker within the DRS. I think he's a bit too far back into turn 1. Staying just behind Paul, but Skolker having some very good pace at the moment. In the Alfa Romeo, staying within the DRS, following closely behind the championship leader Deepti Paul. Meanwhile behind, there comes Wardy for another move. Another lap, another overtake, and Sean is up into P3. He's got past the Alfa Romeo. Now all he has to do is close that gap, and Wardy is struggling so much. Running a bit wide in the middle sector. And now he's got 7 dead up. He is inside there at the turn 8. I think there was a bit of contact. Sevdet couldn't quite get ahead. Then he gets material. Jeremy's gone off in sector 2. Sean has got within the DRS, but he hasn't gotten the DRS yet. And there comes 7 dead on the inside wheel to wheel stop once again. Wardy's dropping like a stone at the moment. Holding up the cars behind, it's forming a bit of a train at the moment. Still managing to hold on to the 1 second gap. Going to be very important. Skolker very close behind Paul once again. Is he going to go for the move into turn 1? Or is he staying behind? He's going for the inside, and Skolker takes the lead on lap 5 in this race. With a new leader in this race, Skolker takes it away from Paul, but Paul might come back with the help of DRS. No, he doesn't have the DRS. So Skolker stays ahead, and he's taken the lead. But Paul is looking to fight back, but he knows that into sector 2, it's going to be very difficult to go wheel to wheel. You could lose a lot if you do that. Paul down to P2, having a poor exit out of turn 8 as well. And now Sean in the Red Bull. He's on the softs, remember, so he'll still have the advantage for the next few laps. But after that the softs will pretty quickly drop off. For the time being, I think he's still going to be a bit quicker. There the cars in front, and there comes Deepti Paul round the outside. And he retakes that position to turn 11. So we're already fighting for the lead. Here on lap 5. No waiting around. Just immediately onto the racing action here in Bahrain. Now once again Skolker will have the DRS, the slipstream. He's 4.5 tenths back. But here he comes. Getting closer, getting closer, getting closer. Is he going to go for the move into turn 1 once again? The Alfa Romeo pulls to the inside and he goes for it once again. And Skolker retakes the lead, and behind there it's 3 wide with Sean 7 dead and Wardy still going at it. Sean is in P3 at the moment, but he's got Wardy on his inside, 7 dead is there. They're once again going 3 wide, watch out. And now Wardy is coming back, he's coming back in this race, and ooh, big moment on the exit though. And he's wheel to wheel now with Sean into the middle sector. Sean round the outside. That's a very lovely move. And now 7 dead is coming at him as well. But he'll have the outside line. But he's trying to hold on. And he has hold on. So a few corners ago Wardy was in P3. Now he's back down to P5. And he's under pressure from Sakir behind. And Raiden is there as well. That's quite a big gap. It's Raiden on the inside of turn 10. Trying to go for a better exit. But couldn't quite get that, and now 7 dead is going for it, and he's up at the P3. He's got past Sean. I think at this point the softs will start to worsen compared to the mediums or the hards. All these guys are on the hards except for Sakir. He's on the mediums. And look how close Paul is once again. 2 310s and he's going for it. He is going for it, opening the DRS. And it's an easy pass on the main straight and Paul retakes the lead on lap 7. And they're constantly swapping positions, and behind it's Sean going wheel to wheel with Wardy, who into turn 1 trying to go for the move, but Sean is still there on the inside, but doesn't quite get the exit right. And Wardy is up at the B4, and now he's got Sakir to deal with. Meanwhile at the front end, it's Deep the Ball and Skullkiller going wheel to wheel once again into turn 4, and Skullkiller hangs it round the outside. And they're wheel to wheel into sector 2. Skullkiller has the outside line and he takes the P1 position away. A very nice move, but now Paul comes back at him on the outside and it's a virtual safety car. But interrupts this lovely battle between Skullkiller and Deep Paul. I'm not sure what it's for. I think it's for material germ. He's lost his front wing. So that's why we've got our first neutralization, not a full safety car. Just a virtual. Wow. Incredible action so far already. We're only on lap 7, still 22 laps to go, and they're all already fighting like it's the last lap of the race. Simiak just lost a position or 2. Not sure what happened there, but virtual safety car will be ending soon, probably. Make sure to not get a drive-through penalty. That would certainly ruin your race. The ball is right there behind Skullkiller. Oh, and Sean is making use of that virtual safety car, although it's near the ending. He's going to the pit lane. And he's switching his softs for a set of hards. Hoping to go to the end of the race. DRS is enabled, so the virtual safety car has ended. And Wardy and Sakir already fighting. And Paul is right behind Skullkiller once again. He can't quite get past. 5-second time penalty for material germ, speeding in the pit lane. Lost his front wing earlier on in the lap. And getting himself a 5-second penalty certainly doesn't help. But look at 7 Dead, he's right there behind them as well, so it's a 3-way fight at the moment. Cars behind still within DRS. But they're incredibly close together. A second or 2 separating the top 6. Bit of time lost there for 7 Dead. And Paul is once again very close to the back of the Alfa Romeo head. And it's not the Alfa Romeo that is used to fight this season. Skullkiller doing a tremendous job at the moment. But he will be under pressure, and there comes Paul with the help of DRS. Putting out on the inside and takes the lead once again in this race. They swap positions basically every lap, and on lap 9 it's Paul ahead once again. Wardy going wheel to wheel there with Sakir. Didn't quite get the job done. Looking on the inside, but thinks the better of it. Stays behind for the time being. He's on the mediums. And the mediums will drop off, but and not yet, because the tire wear of the hards, it's pretty bad around Bahrain. The mediums are probably a bit better with high tire wear. That's going to be interesting to see if Sakir is able to hold on to that leading group. Because later on in the race, he will have to go onto a set of hards. Now the others ahead will be on mediums, and they will have the advantage. And Paul has broken free a bit there from Skullkiller. 8/10 is the gap. But as long as Skullkiller is still within the DRS, there's basically nothing to worry about, because he will regain that time on the 3 DRS straights. The 3-second time penalty for Alpha I1, the Mercedes. Running in P10, the gap behind is 3 seconds for now, but getting any higher in this race. Top 6 so close together. And Sean on his heart might be able to do an undercut. He's just setting the fastest lap of the race, 32.8. And he will be much faster than the guys out in front. Of course, when they pit, they will be coming out on a fresh set of mediums. Half a second is the margin. Cyril Germ now sets the fastest lap. Fastest lap he is on the set of softs. So unsurprisingly takes that purple lap time away from Sean, who's on the hards. At the end of lap 10, and it's Paul still in the lead. Just under 4/10 clear of Skullkiller, who's getting very close in the final sector. Might be lining up another move, another overtake. And with the help of DRS, he might be able to pull off an overtake. As here he comes again on the main straight. And he's staying behind for now. Haven't seen that before from him in this race, but he's playing it tactical. And behind there's battling with Sakir and Wardy going wheel to wheel on the exit. And now Raiders looking to go for a double move, potentially. Wardy's got an Alpine on his inside. An Alpine who's on the mediums. And they're still going at it. And Sakir takes the position away, or does he? Yes, he does. P4 at the moment for the Alpine driver. Or the Alpine driver, the reserve driver, racing for Alpine tonight. Sakir in P4 at the moment, in Sakir. But what's crucial, he's got a 1 second gap to the cars in front. He's not got any DRS. And if he's not able to close that gap in this final sector, then he might be in trouble. And the same could be said for the cars behind. Top 3 is slowly drifting away from them. They're not gaining it back. 1.1 seconds it's not going to be enough. This might ruin their chances of a podium finish. Except if Wardy could overtake him and get within the DRS again. And once again, and this time Skullkiller goes for it on the inside of the turbo. Oh, there's contact behind it. Paul has been spun around there by 7dad, who under braking was a bit too optimistic and hit the rear of the Alpha Tower. And Paul was sent in a half spin. And he's now going 3 wide into turn 4, and Wardy goes for a double overtake. That's a bit of contact between the two of them. The championship rivals fighting it out, and now Paul's going wheel to wheel with Sakir. What is going on? Paul all the way down to P4 now. As Raiders is looking to go for a move as well in the Williams, trying to go around the outside, but that doesn't quite work out. A bit of contact between the two as well. And Skullkiller inherits the race lead. Happily with now 9/10 margin to 7dad, and Wardy doesn't have the DRS, but he's ahead of his championship rival DT Paul. As he got a slight touch in the rear from 7dad in the Ferrari. Dramatic moments halfway into this race. And Wardy is unable to stay within DRS range. So now it's the top two drifting away instead of the top 3. now Paul will have to fight back and come back into this race, and there comes 7Dead. Another new race leader in this race as 7Dead takes the lead on lap 13. He got the position on Paul last lap, and he overtakes Skullkiller this lap, and Mr. 7Dead is in P1 as we near the halfway point of this race. And meanwhile, Paul has got past Wardy, so Paul is now back into the podium positions and is looking to get within that 1 second margin, and he's on the edge. 9 tenths, 9.5, then now it's 1 second again. Can he do it? Losing a lot of time on the exit. 1.2, 1.3, 1.1. Not quite within the DRS range. Dead in the lead. His teammate just got a 3-second time penalty for track limits, unfortunately. And Paul, has he managed to get within the DRS? I think he has. So now the top 6 is connected with each other once again in this race. So it's going to be a train of 6 cars once again instead of 2. Staying nice and together, like a group of cars. Here looking on the inside of turn 1, but staying behind for now. He's still on the mediums on lap 14. Surely the pit window is not too far away for these guys. Lap 14 or 15 from hards to mediums, and the same probably for the mediums to the hardest of the tires. Paul is really close now to the back of Skullkiller. He's now in an Alfa Romeo sandwich. Not the first time this race. And Wardy's once again starting to hang on. Still within the DRS. And I wonder if we're going to see some cars putting into the pit lane at the end of this lap. And go for an undercut. And well way to come out compared to Sean. He's been out there on these hards for quite a while now, but really he's gained quite a bit of time. And there comes Paul into the pit lane. He's going to be going to the pits. Wardy as well, and Sakir all going to the pit. And now Wardy's getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Went way too late on the brakes. Had to avoid the back of the Alpha Tauri. And he's given himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's the last thing he needed in this race. And that could ruin it all. What? Okay, Paul just teleported ahead of Wardy and Sakir, and they're coming out way behind Sean. It was a couple of seconds up the road, 5-6 seconds, 7-8 seconds actually ahead of these two drivers. They will be on the mediums, on a fresh set of mediums, and I'm sure they will be chasing and hunting him down. While Sean will be struggling in the end of this race on his old hard set. Gonna have to be hoping for a safety car. Meanwhile, Skullkiller has retaken the lead in this race. He's got ahead of 7Dead. I'm sure the two of them will both come into the pit lane. Same could be said for Raiden in the Williams. But not without a fight, because 7Dead re-overtakes Skullkiller on the straight right before the final corner. So making sure he gets ahead into the pit lane and will come out ahead. But 7Dead is staying out. 7Dead is staying out for another lap. Skullkiller and Raiden both go into the pit lane, but 7Dead in the Ferrari is going for an alternative route. And will stay out for another lap. At least one more lap. He's now ahead of Brian the Rebel, who's got his teammate behind him, who's already pitted in this race. Then it's Duck on Quack and P4, yellow flags in sector 1. At the moment, Shawnee's got a 5.5 second margin to Paul in P5. Wonder how quick that gap will close. Sakir has dropped out of the DRS and he's now on the hard, so he will be a bit slower compared to the medium runners. When it's struggling a lot, 7 dead. These hearts are coming to the end of their life. Surely he's gonna pit at the end of this lap, but he will lose so much time with this alternative strategy. You see, Skoker came out at P9, he's way behind Sakir. And that's just 1 lap difference. As 7 dead comes to the pit lane, he will surely come out right behind, well, right behind, he will come out behind Skoker, Raiden as well probably. As it's now gonna be a Red Bull 1-2 in this race. Bry inherits the lead, Wardy sets the fast lap on the race. He's chasing his championship rifle. He still got that 5-second penalty, and he is going very deep into turn 1. A bit of a poor exit behind all sorts of action. Seven Dead has come out in P8. He's still ahead of Raiden as they're almost going 3 wide. They're behind with Zimniak and Madman, and they make contact, and oh, Zimniak into the wall. And Madman has lost his front ring, and surely, and it is a safety car. Safety car deployed to throw all the strategies out of the window. It doesn't matter anymore. It's gonna be equal. Some of them might be going on softs, maybe mediums or softs. But there you have it. Safety car deployed. And actually it's a good chance for Wardy to pit and serve his 5-second time penalty. Was never going to go well, 3 wide into that corner. And on the exit there was just a bit of contact between Zimniak and Madman, and Zimniak ended up into the wall. Wheel detached and out of the race. Madman can't continue in this race. But he has he's got damage to his front wing, and he will have to pit. And this is played massively into the hands of the Red Bull drivers. They were still out there and they're pitting, and they were coming out ahead of all the other drivers. Sakir is staying out though on his hard, which is a questionable decision. But I'm not gonna question it. Skoker staying out as well as 7 Dead and Raiden do. And then it's Bry coming out in P5. Ahead of Poe, so gone on to a new set of mediums. Then it's Sean in P7, and Wardy's only lost 1 position, despite serving his 5-second time penalty. And Sly and Williams in P9, out of the 2 McLarens. So Sakir is leading in Sakir. I had to say it. But I'm not sure for how long, because he's one of the only ones on the hards. Same with Andy, they're both on the hards. The rest are all on mediums except for 2 drivers, and it's Sly and Williams just went to another a new set of softs, and Alpha Hype Wall did the same, driving in P9 and P12 respectively. So they will have the tire advantage at the end of this safety car, during the safety car restart. It will drop off after a few laps. It will stay out for another lap. The field has not caught up yet. This is gonna get very, very interesting. Got the top 4 who have stayed out. And then all the other cars behind, all on a new set of tires. And they will be fighting it out with 10 laps remaining. And maybe even 9 if the safety car stays out for yet another lap, because Bob is still quite far behind. So, Madman is fitted for a set of softs. Maybe it's doable with 10 laps to go. You're almost going up the inside of the turn 1 under a safety car. I don't think they will be able to close the gap yet on this lap. So Bob is still 30 seconds behind the field. And with the safety car nearing the end of sector 2, I think it will go for another lap. Unless he gets the move on. Certainly no rush. Yeah, confirmation there. Safety car not going in yet. It will go in at the end of lap 20, which means we will have 9 laps of racing remaining to decide the winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix in this Tier 2 race tonight. You sure can see the tires. Here you go. So, Karen and the only ones on hards, and the rest of them all on fresh and mediums, or mediums that are 1 or 2 laps older. And then we've got Sly Alpha Boy and Madman on softs. And Bob is finally caught up to the field. So he negotiates around turn 4. There we go. Safety car will go in at the end of this lap. 9 laps of racing, a sprint race to the end. Sprint race or marathon. Either way, it will decide the winner and the outcome of this race. Safety car in this lap. Sakir can decide the pace. And we'll be back for green flag racing shortly. As it's a bit of a kerfuffle behind with SA24 making contact with i5 Paul. He's got a 5-second penalty for it. The car is still waiting. And there he goes. And it's a green once again in Bahrain. And Paul is immediately on the going 3 wide with Prima and Raiden. And Skullkiller is going for it round the outside at the turn 1. Skullkiller wheel to wheel with Sakir. And he takes the position away, or does he? Sakir still going at it, and there's contact, and Skullkiller is spun around! Skullkiller spun around and down the order, no way! Unbelievable stuff, and there's more contact as Pry gets made contact with Raiden, I think. 7 dead, inherits the lead, is 1.3 seconds ahead. And all the good work has been undone for Skullkiller in the Alfa Romeo. Colliding with Sakir on the safety car restart all the way down to P18 and 19. You hate to see it. Absolute heartbreak for the Alfa Romeo driver. While 7 dead is comfortably out in front. Quite a bit of a margin to Raiden, 1.2 seconds. Then it's Paul behind who inherits those positions. Now Paul is going for the move and takes P2 with 8 laps to go in this race, 1.3 seconds behind 7 dead. I wonder if you can catch him next few laps, although Raiden might come back. And so does Wardy, and we're gonna have a 3 wide moment, and Paul is gonna lose 2 positions into turn 1. And Wardy goes for a double overtake. Wardy up at the P2, impressive stuff, and Raiden losing a bit of time. They're going wheel to wheel with Paul. Watch out, it goes so wrong on the exit of turn 4. Turn 3, turn 4, I don't care. Paul retakes the position, he's back up into P3. Raiden down to 4th, and he's got the 2 Red Bulls chasing him. Then it's stuck on Quack, who somehow find himself in P7. Oh, on the inside. Oh, and there's contact. Was not gonna work. There's a bit of contact, and Alpha High Wall is looking to go around the outside of turn 10. That's never gonna work. But he might have a better exit. Almost pushing the McLaren to the corner. And they're going wheel to wheel. And turn 11, and Alpha High Wall takes P7 away from the McLaren driver. Got his teammate behind him now as well. But out in front, it's 7 dead with a 1.5 second gap to Wardy. But that's going to become Paul because he's having the slipstream. DRS is enabled, not quite for this straight yet, but for the next straight it will be enabled. Or will Paul go for the move already into turn 1? No, we will stay behind for now. Moment of silence there for Skullkiller. So unfortunate. And now Paul is looking to go for the move again on his rival in the championship. 3 tenths behind, but they're not catching 7 dead with 6 laps to go. Might be cruising to victory in Bahrain. 1.6 now the gap. Paul's getting a bit of held up there by Wardy, but I think he's gonna go for the move with the help of DRS slipstream, pulling out onto the inside of turn 1, and that's P2 for the championship leader. Relegates Wardy down to P3. Big slide there by one of the Red Bulls, I think it was. Out of turn 1. Yellow flags behind, and it's the Alpine of Garner Thor who's had a moment at the end of sector 1. Down the order not to be 5th, P16 behind his teammate who was trying to make something of this race after having an incident at the safety car restart. And there goes Stan Cannon up to P7, getting past Alpha High Wall. Oh, and DPT Paul is got within DRS range of 7 Dead. This is not over yet. Top 3 are within 1 second of each other. This might turn out to a 3-way fight, and 7 Dead, he's got no ERS left in the battery. I'm sure Paul and Wardy have saved up a bit of ERS. Especially now when they're in the DRS as Sean moves up to P4. Getting past the Williams of Raiden. Oh. Watch out, a bit of contact. Oh, Madman with the 2 Haas drivers. Material Germ says thank you very much, taking both positions. And there comes Brennan trying to go for a double move. 3 wide. Surely not. And then once again we're going wheel to wheel coming out of turn 4. Fighting it out here, and Brennan is up at the P12. Watch out, Sakir, almost collecting the Haas in front. But look at this, DPT Paul going for the move into turn 11, and Paul takes the lead once again in this race on lap 25 with 4 laps remaining in this race. We have another lead change, and it's Paul out in front, but 7 Dead is still very close behind, and Wardy is there as well in the Alfa Romeo. Surely this will continue on to the end of the race. Oh, big slide there for Paul. Is it going to be Paul? Is it going to be 7 Dead? Or is it going to be Wardy who will win this race? 3 of them are fighting it out, and there comes 7 Dead once again. Round the outside of the turn where Paul sticks it on the inside. Wheel to wheel for the lead. But 7 Dead takes the position away, and he is back into P1. Paul following closely behind, but he's trying to go around the outside to the turn 4. We've seen incidents with going wheel to wheel into this corner. And they're still going at it wheel to wheel. 7 Dead hanging on the inside, but Paul retakes the position. Retakes the lead. And he's back ahead of 7 Dead in the Ferrari. As now Sean has caught up to the cars in front as well. He's within the DRS range. Will he be able to get himself onto the podium? Maybe. Three laps remaining. %50% ERS remaining. Oh, and that's very wide there from 7 Dead. Coming out of the penultimate corner, and he's got little to no ERS left in the battery. Wardy's got plenty of ERS. And Sean has got a bit as well. Raiden has got absolutely nothing left in the battery. Right, looking to go for the move. Whoa, big moment for Sean. What has happened there? And Wardy's dropping down the order. What's going on? Wardy and Sean made contact, and they're down the order. Price up to P4, Raiden to P3, 10th, Cannon is to P5. What has happened there? Sean is down to P8. As Andy retires. But Bordy and Sean come together, and it's gonna be a two-way fight now for the win. And that's the last thing Bordy needed in this race. He got a 5-second penalty early in this race, got that removed. It was all equal again, but now he's back down to P6 and fighting for a podium instead of for a win. Paul looks to be running away for another victory. He's got plenty of ERS left. 7 Dead hasn't. So it's going to be very difficult for him to be able to get past. We'll get the help of DRS. So he might get a bit closer. It's behind us a massive train with Raiden, but he's got Pry going for it. He's right behind him. Pry is going for the inside at the turn 1. And we're going wheel to wheel again for the final podium position. Raiden stays ahead for the time being, but he doesn't have any DRS. Someone who has DRS is Pry. Oh, we're going 3 wide again, aren't we? Oh my goodness me. Tent Cannon is trying to go around the outside. Pry and Raiden wheel to wheel. And Pry takes the position. Whitey's there as well, forcing his way past Raiden there. A bit of contact between the two. And Raiden is dropping down the other because now Tent Cannon is up the inside. And oh, watch out, high ball going for it as well. It's all falling apart for the Williams driver. Down to P6. And now Brian Red Bull is in P3. Tent Cannon is going wheel to wheel with Raiden for P5 it is. And they're starting to stay within DRS range. If they continue fighting like that. And they're gonna move on to the final lap of this race. Deep Paul has got quite the margin. He's deploying his ERS. 6.5 tenths. No way 7 Dead is gonna close that gap, or he has to go for an enormous dive home into turn 1. He might be able to go if he manages to go for it. Staying behind for now. Not quite able to go for it. Behind him they're going for it. Brian Wardy going wheel to wall. Avoiding action there for Sean. Has to take a penalty for that as well. Under braking. Meanwhile 7 Dead and Paul once again going for it. But 7 Dead stays behind. And Paul still has some ERS left. Wardy going wheel to wheel now with Brian for the final podium position. Maybe he can go for a switchback. Not quite. The Red Bull's flashing, so he's got no ERS left. Maybe Wardy can go for it on the back straight. 4 tenths separate Paul and 7 Dead on the final lap of this race. But make that 6 tenths. Because Paul is deploying his saved up ERS. And through the final sector of this race, the final lap of this race, Paul is comfortably ahead. And did you ever doubt him in this race? By the way, absolutely fighting for it for the final podium position. With Prime and Wardy going wheel to wheel. But it's going to be Deep Paul across the line to win the Bahrain Grand Prix. 7 Dead takes P2, but behind who's it going to be for P3? Brian is still there, P3, Wardy across the line. Oh, Brian takes it by 13 thousandths of a second. Prime and Storm the Red Bull takes the podium position. Wardy goes through. Oh, and there's a big crash behind with Raiden, who's left, but I think he's finished already. What on earth happened behind? Come on, guys! It's the final straight. It's a straight line. It's not that difficult to drive, is it? Says Skoker. They're showing purple. He's probably going for the fastest lap. Might as well. Not getting points anyway. Paul wins again, and he wins the Bahrain Grand Prix with a 7 Dead following him in P2. Skoker across the line. It's going to be the fastest lap. Yes, it is. No points awarded, but it is what it is. It's the fastest lap. a little satisfaction. The driver was fighting for the win throughout the race, and it all fell apart. That safety car restart. It didn't for Paul, who extends his championship lead by a couple more points, putting one hand on the championship trophy with 5 races remaining. Seven dead. Finishes on the podium as well, and Brian the Red Bull as well with a solid performance from 11th on the grid. Bit lucky with the safety car, but he got the job done in the end. Final results. Paul ahead of 7 Dead and Prime and Storm. Wardy in P4 ahead of 10 Cannon. Alpha Wall in P6 ahead of Sean, Sly and Sakir. And Madman rounds out the top 10 ahead of the 2 Aston Martins, 11th and 12th. Duck and Quack finished in 13th ahead of Carnator, SA24 and his teammate Material Germ. Skulker in P17 with the fastest lap, and Raiden, he's a bit glitched out. He finished in P6. Andy and Zimniak both retired from the race, 18 finishers, which must be a record for Tier 2. More points on the board for Paul, who extends his championship lead to a potential 43 points. 44 maybe, for any penalties being applied. That's the end of the race. That's it for tonight in Bahrain. Next week we'll be back for the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos for round 14 of the season. 5 races left. Paul is getting closer to the championship trophy. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time, next week probably. But for now, it's good night. Ciao, ciao.